Yo, yo. What's going on, Antoine Johnson? You in here early, my guy. Said, did I see Ryan Day, aka Lil Day, him and Q Ball D Franklin laughing in the middle of the field about something? Could it be that them two were laughing about the plot against Jim? It's a possibility, you know. We got Buckeye fans in here. I don't know if you want to hear what I got to say. Hold on 1 second. I don't know if you want to see what I got to say, Buckeye fan, because I know Ohio State fans. I'm gonna touch on this real quick. I know Ohio State fans are hyped because they beat Penn State. Penn State was ranked high, you know. But if you know football, you know that Penn State offense. And I on my live when I was in my car, I said it. The real factor of that game was gonna be Penn State's offense versus Ohio State's defense. Penn State doesn't even try to throw deep. They dink and dunk. Their run game hasn't been that good this year. So, teams are going to sit on all those short routes and you ain't going to be able to do nothing. And that's exactly what happened. They don't even try to go deep. So, yeah, it was a good defensive game, but to act like Penn State's offense, and I've seen some Ohio State fans trying to compare them to us. You can't do that. Penn State wants to be us. They're not us. They're not the real McCoy. You got a copycat. Penn State ain't us. Hold on, let me bring Marcus up here.
Yo,
what up, bro?
man, exposure weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Exposure weekend for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people. A lot of things got exposed. People thought they was exposing stuff. Only thing they did was expose themselves.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about with them. So with that Ohio State Penn State game, telling them like Penn State's offense wasn't that, so that's not saying much that you did them like that. I mean, you played good defense, but what it really showed was your offense is still struggle bussing, and it's Marvin Harrison or bust.
First of all, do not count me, Ohio State fans. Do not count me with the rest of the lot who was telling you that Penn State was going to beat you, or they're going to beat you, they're going to beat you, they're going to beat you, and then immediately flip to they sucked. Okay? Not me. Because I told y'all that Penn State was going to get exposed. I said up here last week, and I told y'all they're going to get exposed because they don't have it on offense. They don't have it. They don't have big play wide receivers on the outside. He's a dink and dunk passer, and he's terrible when he's pressured. And he's terrible when they're pressured. 17 for 43. Dog, that's Spencer Petras. That's Iowa. They're Iowa.
I didn't understand why when they had a little success, they try to go to a play action or something, and they go. I think
they were trying to get him going, but he's not that good yet.
But they didn't really establish the run like you want to. Second or third and one. Man, run that rock. Establish your run dominance early when it's working.
Yeah,
I
agree. For a while there, it seemed like who can fail at third and short or fourth and short more. It seemed like they was having a contest for real. Like, okay, I'm a run a jet sweep on fourth and goal from the 2, and then you gonna come out here on third and 3 and try to drop that pass with 5 wide on your third and 2. And then we just gonna keep going back and forth and see who can lose this game better.
See who loses.
I just feel like that's what it was for a little bit. And James Franklin as a coach is so frustrating to me, right? Because he has a serviceable record. I think it's plus 650 or around 650 total outside of his total. right? Including his record against Michigan and Ohio State, because he's able to beat up on lesser talented teams. He gets into these games where the talent is even or he's at a deficit and absolutely uses the bathroom all the way down his leg. All the way down his leg. And it's consistent, man. It is consistent. There was a moment in the fourth quarter of this game. Now, your defense has been playing well, even though you lost Chop Robinson and Kalen King is getting exposed as being a second-tier corner, right?
Facts.
Even though all of that is happening, your defense is still playing well. And even though here in the second half, Kyle McCord seems that he at least has the outlet of Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't think it had gotten so bad to the point where you have absolutely no faith in that defense anymore. You know what he does with 7 minutes left to go at his own 35? We're going to go for it on 4th and 7. Why?
I didn't understand that either.
Why? That's a concession. You are telling your team we can't stop them at all. Under no circumstances do we expect to be able to stop the ball and get another score. So we need to score right now. He even said it after the game. We needed to be aggressive in that spot. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Like, fam, I've never coached a football game a day in my life. But I'm supremely confident that with 7 minutes left in the amount of damage that you were able to do to the Ohio State offense with your defense, you should have confidence in your defense at that point. There's no reason to be overly aggressive. 7 minutes, that's maybe 2 possessions if you play well. That's maybe 2 cracks at it to get the ball back if you punt there.
That's what I was thinking. Like, bro, there's a ton of time and they haven't moved the ball well. What are you doing?
Like, and then lo and behold, so he gives the ball back to him. They go down, they score a touchdown with Marvin Harrison, right? The very next drive, what'd they do, Johnny? What'd they do? They went down the field and scored. Now imagine if you didn't give them a free 7 points with 7 minutes left in the game, and you went down there and scored like that when the game was still 13-6.
Mm-hmm. You know when I really thought the one of the back-breaking plays for Penn State was, I'm not sure what the score was. It was still close. I mean, it was close the whole time pretty much, but it was still close. Mm-hmm. So
real quick, Nala, Greg Schiano is a liar, and he's holding Ryan Day's jockstrap. It was only a handful of coaches that it could have been. Matt Rule, only Big Ten coaches that we played was Matt Rule, PJ Fleck, and Greg Schiano so far. Matt Rule's program is awful right now. It's absolutely terrible. There would be no reason for him to try to use the excuse of sign stealing, right? But I grant you, it could have been Matt Rule. Fine. Definitely wasn't PJ Fleck. Who was out there fellating us on national TV after we stomped his team out. Oh man, best team I've seen in 10 years. It'd be kind of weird to then go back and accuse us of stealing signs.
Mm-hmm.
The only coach that said something about it, the only coach that even let an inkling to think that there was something improper going on for 2 years in a row now. This is the second year in a row that Greg Schiano has been complaining about something in the game he's currently getting his ass kicked in. He wasn't even getting his ass kicked in it last year. They was actually playing that game pretty well. And he was still crying about stuff that was going on in the game. It's a consistent thing from him for 2 years now to make note of some impropriety he thinks is going on in the field. Now, that in combination with the fact that the pictures that they have of old boy, the assistant, have been coming from the Ohio State sideline, that's enough context clues for me. I don't need to be Inspector Gadget. Who else? And for what reason? Other than to derail this train, baby. They're trying to derail this train, man. They scared. That breeds fear to me, right? When you're up against it and you think you have the more talented roster and you claim that you're tough and that you've only played a couple bad halves the last couple of years, then that means you want to go get it back on the field. Now we're going to blow them guys out and I can't wait. You don't do this type of stuff. You don't go back and say, hey, they're stealing my signs. Do something about it. It's just not what you do.
Got you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Depends. So with the Penn State and Ohio State, when I think that game turned, well, when I think it was a wrap for Penn State because it was a bonehead play. Ohio State punts it. from their end zone to like the 50, and the guy lets it roll.
Lets it go. Mm-hmm.
And it goes 25 more yards, and he just kills all of their great field position.
Did
right
you
there,
hear
and I was
Franklin's response to that in the post? Did you watch his interview in the post game? So when they asked him about that, he responded and said, yeah, it's something we'll have to look at later. Obviously, he would have caught it if he had a chance again. It wasn't anything I would have said to him then. And it's just like, those are the things that separate good coaches and bad coaches to me. Treating something like that, losing 25 yards on a punt where you could have fielded it at the 50 when your offense has been getting absolutely nothing all day, and then brushing it off like it's nothing after the fact. Like, that's where your head is as it's happening too. And so it's no wonder the kid who's expected to go do it on the field has the mental lapse in the moment to let it happen, because the head guy, the one he listens to most, it's not important to him. Why would it be important to the actual guy who's asked to go out there and do it if the head man says it's not important? If the head man doesn't hold you responsible for mistakes like that in front of everyone, so that everyone knows that we all are held to a certain standard, we all should come into this game with a certain football IQ and hold ourselves to that. If he's not doing that, how do you expect the players to get over that hump and start doing that?
And the player was looking like, oh, well.
Like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, I ain't about to get cussed out or benched. I know I'm about to come out here and take the next
he was looking like, oh, well, I made a mistake. Oh, like, it wasn't the thing. Like,
you didn't pull him aside and be, hey, listen, man, come hell or high water, if you're not letting it go into the end zone or out of bounds, catch the ball. If it's not going into the end zone or out of bounds, catch the ball. Period. Like, I don't care if you fair catch it. If you're not letting that thing go over your head or out of bounds, catch the ball, regardless. What do you mean? Obviously, he would have done better. How is it obvious when he didn't do it?
Yeah. So this is a clown. And I tried to tell some Penn State fans.
I already knew.
I tried to tell them before the season started. The hype. You can have the hype. You can be the 5-star. That ain't. You still got to get out there and go in these 100,000 attended stadiums.
Yeah.
Deal with that crowd, all that pressure. You in the top 10. You go a big top 10 matchup. Everybody's eyes on you. That defense is blazing and they coming for you. Can you sit back there and make those throws? Is your offensive coordinator gonna make the right calls so you can be successful? Oh, he's a 5-star quarterback. Boy, you got to play these games.
I wish, you know what? I hope now, like, is Penn State not a large enough sample size to say that college football is not run completely off of recruiting alone? Like, can we please stop leaning on recruiting rankings that are driven by companies, by the way, companies that have a vested interest in what? Making money, driving narratives to get people to click on these articles in between recruiting rankings. That's the whole function of them. But can we stop leaning on them so heavily that we let it translate to what teams we think are going to be successful every offseason? Because it's a misnomer, man. It just really is. USC, Penn State, North Carolina, Washington, man, big offensive teams, and they get these offensive recruits all the time, and they can't stop anyone. Or they can stop someone, and the quarterback that you thought was worth a damn ain't worth anything. Or he hasn't matured to the point where he can actually lead the team past some of these bigger teams that you want to beat. They were so ready to get rid of Sean Clifford. They were so ready to move on from Sean Clifford.
Sean Clifford might win that game.
He'd have beat that. He won that game yesterday. Sean Clifford would have won that game yesterday. You add in the QB run element and the fact that I know Sean Clifford can get completions. 17 for 43 is putrid.
Yeah, Clifford is a dog.
You can't do anything with that. How do you even let a guy who only has 17 completions throw the ball 43 times? How does that even happen?
He just kept.
Yeah, how does that happen? You just gonna force it, huh? You just gonna throw it.
Yeah, you gonna force it on in there. You know, sometimes you have to go and try to force it on in. It ain't working.
It's slowly going away because people are starting to fear us and the schedule is on. You know why it's going away, Antoine? because you're seeing good teams or teams who quote unquote played somebody go out against bad teams and underperform. So this excuse of, oh, Michigan hasn't played anybody, that's Urban Meyer's great. That's his favorite thing to say on Big Noon Kickoff. They ain't played nobody. Well, there are teams that have played somebodies and nobodies, and we've seen them struggle against both.
North Carolina lost yesterday to 1-5.
Yeah.
Virginia. Washington struggles.
Caleb Williams lost to Utah for the third time last night. And then who lost to the 1-16? Who lost to Arizona State? Or no, I'm sorry, Penix. Penix was in a dogfight with Arizona State through 3 picks. They won one game this season.
Exactly.
15-7. I thought they had the most innovative offense since slicing white bread.
They would have lost.
The second coming of Joe Montana or something.
Arizona actually had him for real, but the guy threw that pick six. It wasn't even Penix that led the drive to take the lead. It was pick six.
So again, and that's going to add on to something else I want to discuss with you later about this Heisman race. But in terms of who looks the best, how can you sit up here and say, well, we can't give Michigan credit for their dominance because they haven't played anyone, but then simultaneously not ding some of these other teams who have played bad versus inferior teams who have played. Florida State has consistently, ever since they won that game against LSU to start the season, which really doesn't look like all that great of a win anymore, but ever since they won that game, they have consistently every single week in, week out, been playing down to their competition, and they're ranked in the top 4. So what is it to say about a team that was already ranked in the top 4 preseason that's dominated everybody that they played?
Yeah, Michigan's dominated everybody. We took it easy. We actually, if you want to say struggled, we struggled more with the cupcakes than actual Big Ten competition. But you know what's funny now? People are calling our Big Ten teams cupcakes now.
Cupcakes. I'm like, yo, so are you saying that about any other Big Ten team? Like, does Penn State have a cupcake schedule as well? What about Ohio State? They play all the teams we play.
When Ohio State struggled with Indiana first game, oh, it's a Big Ten team. We started off with a Big Ten team. Oh, if you don't get out of here, hang 100 on them dudes.
We play in the Big Ten East. The benefit of us all being log jammed in this division on this side of the conference is that you can't make that excuse. If Penn State is good for playing their schedule, what's your excuse for Michigan? If Ohio State is good for playing their schedule, I get it. They played Notre Dame, so their schedule was 10 points higher than Michigan's. That makes all the difference. The win against Notre Dame.
And when he brings this up,
a 2-loss team.
It wasn't that many times, but Jim Knowles, he got in that zero coverage a few times.
He did.
And I thought they were going to try to, exploit it, but they so abysmal they don't try to stretch the field at all. I don't understand what's going on.
Penn State's offense looked like Iowa. Their defense looked like Don Brown.
Like, bro,
it looked like Don Brown. Suffocate the run game, press on the outside, come up, get pressure, hope you can hold up. Now, those whole shots that Penn State gave up, I think that they thought their offense could score more than 20 points. I think that they designed the defense because there were times where they let Marv run loose one-on-one, especially in the second half when it didn't look like Kyle McCord was going to get anything going, even going to Marvin. They said, screw it. We're going to put Kalen on there one-on-one, and that's kind of what.
But he was playing off coverage, though. Yeah. He was off most of the time, right? From what I saw.
Talking about King? Yeah.
Why?
The few times that he tried to press, that's when he got called for holding.
Well, I guess if he can't do it, then I guess you got to. But that's what he struggles with. That's one of his struggles is press against a good physical corner.
Back the fumble, right, on Kyle McCord. I don't know why, for the life of me, he even grabs Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't get it.
He was scared,
Brian. I don't even understand why he did that. Kyle McCord would have had to throw the ball off his back foot across his body late to the middle of the field to hit Marvin Harrison at that point, right? He and from all the throws that we seen that man miss, first of all, between Drew Aller and Kyle McCord, I think we've seen every miss that you can possibly have in football. They miss long, they miss short, they miss wide, they threw the ball too hard. Like every possible miss that you could have in a game was seen from these two quarterbacks. But even at that case, why even put your hands on the man? He's not going to make that throw, and it's not going to be an accurate pass, even if he makes it. Under duress at that time. And then to get a second one on the same drive.
That one should have been a pick. He had them shook. He had them shook. I'm convinced of it, because on the other one where it was like a post, I want to say something like that, the dude is breaking on it. Like, bro, what are you trying to shade him for? You're supposed to be jumping that. You're supposed to be getting ready to go celebrate. This dude is trying to do all this, bro. You've already broke on it. Just get the ball. What are you doing?
Get the ball.
Like, this dude got you shook.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Johnny Dixon outplayed him, and Johnny Dixon is usually the more handsy DB for Penn State. I thought he outplayed Kalen King this game for sure.
I just don't understand some of their coverages. Like, what's with this? All the defenders are 10 yards off and stuff. I don't get that. Now, if it's third and 15 or 20 or something, I get it. But I'm seeing it on 3rd and 9, like 3rd and 10. Like, why are y'all 10 yards off?
I mean, with the Mecca out, you would think that they would have been able to press up more. But even still, Cade Stover had a big game too. And so if you are keying in on Marvin Harrison, all right, we're gonna take away his first read, right? Boom. And then you let Cade Stover run 3 of your guys over for a first down on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Okay, so we can't do that no more. We can't do that no more. You know, like you have to be able to take something away and then live with the results. Well, they took something away. When they took it away, they couldn't live with the result because, I mean, I don't know if I'm blaming the linebackers or maybe the safeties on this, but the game Cade Stover had yesterday, they gonna have him vying to be the top tight end in the league here. Literally, you're gonna hear them preaching that for the next 4 weeks, that Cade Stover is the best tight end in the Big Ten because he wears the scarlet and gray, and he had this huge game against Penn State.
Well, let me read this real quick.
Sure.
Appreciate the $5 super chat, Brian. He says, if Michigan left the starters in all year, they'd average 70 and give up
easily
on 3 points a game. Yeah, you that's a fact.
Easily.
Yeah, I mean,
think about it. He had 300 yards damn near in 2.5 quarters, 287, 4 TDs, and came out with 6 minutes left in the third.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. He was cooking yesterday. Yesterday was a game I wanted to see him stay in because he was cooking. Now it says,
I wouldn't buy into that totally yet. Now let's see somebody with some talent outside.
And he did it.
They did well against Maryland, but Maryland also shit it down their leg.
Yeah.
So I don't know what.
And he did it some yesterday. He went to that zero. Who was on the call yesterday? Was it Gus and Joel?
Yeah,
it was
Gus and Joel.
Joel called it out because I was like, this dude looked like he in zero a couple of these times, and he got in it still.
He's a big risk and reward guy.
He wants to go back to that.
40s. They gave up yardage in the middle of the field. It's just that. Okay, so a couple of things that I see differently about this year. Their interior D-line guys are much more gap sound. Talik Williams and Mike Hall Jr.
Those D tackles guys,
you couldn't leave them in 3 downs last year. They're 4 down players now, for sure. They're legit. Got to respect them. I think linebacker play, interesting enough, is worse, but it's not being exposed right now. Nobody's really working the linebackers in coverage as of late. Not that I've seen Ohio State play.
No.
So I don't think that they're better linebacker wise than they were last year. I think they're a little bit worse. But it hasn't been exposed yet, so it's not too big of a problem. And then the secondary is not getting beat. They're just not.
Secondary playing well. I will give them that. They're playing well.
So I think as good as Penn State's defense is, they will be a good primer for Ohio State's defense. Ohio State's defense will be the final test. Penn State will be a good primer for that. Hopefully they have Chop Robinson when we play him to give us a maximum look, give us a great look. Because I honestly believe The only thing that Ohio State's offense has that Penn State's doesn't is multiple secondary players that can cover without help. I think they got Jordan Hancock and they've got Igbenogson out there. Oh, not Igbenogson. I'm sorry. Trey Burke. Denzel Burke. Jesus. Denzel Burke and Jordan Hancock are two close to lockdown defenders. And then they got Jermaine Matthews, who was making some good plays yesterday. So it seems like they're much improved and a lot more comfortable playing in the system that they're in. Now, do they get out of that if they get beat? If you're able to beat them while they're in that zero, do they stop going to it altogether, or are they going to let you do it over and over again like they were last year? That's the only thing, because we haven't seen anybody pop it. You thought Penn State maybe would be able to, but I mean, hell, man, they proved that's not. They just didn't have enough guys outside to really threaten. They didn't even really have a tight end. You usually see Penn State with a dominant tight end. They didn't have a tight end to go to.
Penn State, it's the fact that they played all those teams and they didn't even try. I guess it's knowing what you have, that we can't throw it deep. We can't stretch the field. My thing, if you're gonna run it, you come with your play action pass, you get a post or something, get a 20-yard, 25-yard game, at least like we do, we'll get you with the tight end for 25, 30 yards or something, or Roman, or, but they don't even try it. If you don't try to stretch the field, those safeties, those linebackers, everybody's sitting on all those little short poo-putt routes, and you're going to get nothing. Now Ohio State, they playing up, you get nothing. You know what I'm saying? So
the few times I've seen him throw deep, though, it didn't look. He was either well overthrown. There were a few times he short armed some throws. I'm just
that's probably why they don't do it, because they know he's just not good enough.
A lot. He never really has his feet underneath him. His natural throwing motion kind of seems more of like a back-footed throw. Like it almost like he feels like he's so damn big that he don't really got to step through the ball to get it there. And it's like, that's how you end up letting passes hang in the air. That's how they skip in the dirt, when you're trying to hit out routes and things of that nature. So he didn't really do him no favors. The receivers didn't do him no favors with getting open. They had one guy that they were trying to get the ball to, and when that didn't work, it broke down.
Yeah, that offense was hot garbage. It was horrible. Let me read this. Harry Bryant, appreciate the $5 super chat. He says, I love your content. I feel the NCAA is abusing their power by going hell-bent on destroying Michigan, and especially Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Harbaugh spoke out against them, so, that's part of it. But we still got to see where this is going to go. There's so many reports from Twitter, the speculation, and, so we'll see. This could just be a whole lot of nothing. And
I think it's a whole lot of nothing, because the particulars of how you would have to go about proving it. Because let's start at what's being accused, right? So sign stealing in itself is not illegal, and I would guarantee you any defensive coordinator who's worth his salt has a person on the staff working signals, right? That it's just a normalcy. I talked about it on our pod today. I don't know if it's just common knowledge now, but y'all know Greg Mattison, our former defensive line coach and defensive coordinator in the Brady Hoke era, was a stayover in the Harbaugh regime early on. He got kind of demoted or pushed over to defensive line in lieu for Don Brown. And so at the end of the 2017 season, Greg Mattison goes to Jim Harbaugh and says, hey, I want to be defensive coordinator. I want you to give me the job. I think if you give it to me, we can get this done. He doesn't do it. Keeps Don Brown. Greg Mattison takes his happy ass down to Columbus. Down to Columbus. Now, you would think off of that alone, off of that transaction alone, right? Because I guess it's just supposed to be a gentleman's agreement that you won't take your former team's information down to your new job, especially if it's a rival. I guess it's acceptable to exist off of a gentleman's agreement in that regard. but recording signal rules is the one thing we have to be very particular about. But nobody asks a question or bats an eye when Michigan gets absolutely ran off the field, and it shows that maybe they knew what they was doing. I mean, when you see a team making audibles on offense and a defense in perfect position, right? Like, we don't do a lot of that. That's the one thing. Like, I could see it if every time the offensive shifted, we shifted into the perfect position. I can see it that if there are a look towards me type of offense where you looking back to the sideline to get the play and your defense is not set right until the offense gets set, I can see that. We've done away with that. But when you have a defensive line coach that'll essentially take the entire defensive playbook down to Columbus with them, and nobody bats an eye, nobody says anything. Most points that have been scored in that rivalry in several decades, nobody bats an eye. Nobody even cares. You know what they told us? You should have changed. You knew Greg Madison was going to Ohio State. You should have changed your stuff. You should have did better. You should have hid your calls better. Stop whining. Stop making excuses. Stop crying. Okay, we did. And I haven't heard anybody from Michigan officially come out and tell the public that Ryan Day hired our defensive line coach, or was it Urban Meyer at that point? It was Urban. That Urban Meyer hired our defensive line coach at that point to get our defensive scheme and used it in the game. Haven't heard nobody from this side of it doing that at all whatsoever. Never, not once. And it's almost so obvious that you feel silly for saying that it didn't happen. Because why wouldn't he? If you're going to be so brazen to leave Michigan and go work for Ohio State, why wouldn't you take your defensive game plan with you? Why wouldn't you? Especially knowing who Don Brown is and knowing that he ain't about to change shit. He's not about to change nothing. So now we fast forward 5 years, 2023, and a coach from that program is spearheading a Michigan is stealing signs, and it's an intricate operation in the way that they're doing it. Oh my God. If I thought my head coach was doing that in the middle of a season where you claiming you big and you bad and you tough, and it's all narratives being pushed about you and people just hate you around the country, NCAA seems to like you. The cops seem to like you. You seem to be very popular with police. I just don't get it, man. I would never want to seem that inferior. If my thing was we're the more talented team, we just had bad halves. Oh, we put these players in the NFL and we get these players with these recruit rankings. If that was my thing, the last thing I would be willing to admit is that I have to do something political to try and tie your coach up so that he stops kicking my teeth in every November. That's just a bad luck to me. That's a bad look.
Definitely. I guess I'll put the link in the chat, see if people want to get a opinion on something.
Sure.
Change it up.
Did you already talk about our game, or enough said?
I mean, what is it? Go ahead. You go ahead. I need to find this link anyway. Let me see. So
no, man, I liked what I saw last night, man. JJ was on point again. You know what I love? I love that they haven't shifted to a pass first mentality, but they haven't boxed themselves into playing bully ball so belligerently that they won't go out there and throw the ball. Like if Michigan State would have showed a pulse in the second half, this probably would have been the first game JJ got over 30 attempts. He maybe would have got to 30, 35 because his arm was leading the offense. And so most people are going to try and tell you, oh, he got this offensive line. He got the running game. His defense is great. He doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to do much because the team's ass is already adequately whipped by the third quarter, right? But you can't use that, oh, he leaning on everybody else, because he's been the driving force. What other quarterback, let's go into that Heisman conversation that's what we're going to have. What other quarterback can say that he has been the driving force for every win that they've gotten this season? Now we talking about top guys that are Heisman consideration. So your Jaden Daniels, your Caleb Williams, your Drake Mays, Michael Penix. What guy can say that they dominated everybody that they played and that he's the reason? I don't think nobody else in the country can say that amongst the top guys. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. But they haven't dominated. It's hard to, be part of a dominating effort as just being the wide receiver. But that's just kind of way of the game. JJ was going to be higher consideration just by nature of him playing quarterback anyway. So for that matter, if that's where we're going with it. But quarterback wise, Jordan Travis consistently plays down to his competition along with his team. Drake May just lost to Miami. Penix threw 3 picks in a game with a 1-6 team and won by 9 points. 15-7. Oh, that's off. No? Why can't I count? What's 15 minus 7? 8 points. God damn. By 1 possession. Who else? Who else had a poor showing? Caleb Williams lost for the second time last night. As far as your Heisman candidates go, Cade Klubnik just lost again. Are you gonna say Sam Hartman?
As far as the Heisman, it's starting to trend towards him because we're showing so much dominance and he's not making mistakes.
It's the Stetson Bennett effect. He's going to be the leader of an undefeated team that's vying for a national championship. That's how Stetson Bennett got there last year. Stetson Bennett didn't have the craziest stats, but he got there. He was the leader of the best team in college football, and that's what J.J. McCarthy is right now.
You just got the only people you got Ohio State fans still talking about Bowling Green. He threw 3 picks against Bowling Green. Nobody cares.
No, them the only picks of the season. What do you got? How many touchdowns did he have? 18, 19 touchdowns?
18, I believe. Picks. Yeah, nobody cares.
Great. Yeah, nobody's thinking about that. There were absolutely 0 national contributors that saw it outside the guys who called the game on Peacock. Outside of Mike Tirico and whoever called the game with him, they were the only ones that witnessed those 3 picks. So when they go to vote, I guarantee you, they're not going to have Bowling Green very high on their mind. They're going to have the Michigan State game on their mind. They're going to have the Ohio State game, the Penn State game. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the games that they're going to remember him. Everything else is just going to be reading the stat line.
I'm trying to figure out. Trying to put this link in here. I don't know what's going on with this Chromebook. I won't buy another one of these. I tell you that. These just is trash. I knew it was trash. But like that. The team is just they're rolling. And it bothers everybody that they're cooking the way they are. You haven't played anybody. Your cupcake schedule.
Everything they say about them either turns out not to be true or doesn't matter. You don't have this many recruits. You don't do it this way. You don't pass the ball. Everything that they said about us has either not mattered or hasn't been true. Right? Oh, y'all can't beat them. Your blue chip percentage isn't that high.
Hold on, Goals. I can break down the college football playoff and the Heisman probably better than them dudes on TV. If you win, you will be in that Heisman talk, and you're getting numbers.
It's undeniable, dog. We watched Max Duggan do it. How did Max Duggan get to New York, fam? Was it his stats?
The great quarterbacks that you think of, Penix, Caleb, Drake May. They're either losing or, in Penix's case, he played like dog crap. Ain't nobody. His Heisman just took a nosedive after last night. So
he almost lost. Like by default, bad performance, you still dominate, but to almost lose the game is a little different this late in the season too.
Their stats aren't that better than JJ's. That's the thing that you're not understanding. Those dudes don't have 40 touchdowns already or something. They've got like 22, 23. with JJ's rushing touchdowns, he's right with them. So that's the
and
thing.
Then on top of that, they're not as efficient either. He has a higher QBR. He has a higher completion percentage. He has a higher quarterback efficiency rating. And before you tell me that shit don't matter, then stop talking about it the rest of the season. Then if it don't matter,
the story matters. But
yeah, I'm
you're
telling
at
you,
Michigan.
the only reason why Duggan was there was the story.
We've sent a D lineman to the Heisman ceremony. He came in second. Michigan wins. You'll get the storyline. You'll get the stories.
Denard Robinson was fifth his senior year in the Heisman voting. You don't think
we sent Jabril Peppers
throwing for 70 plus in a completion percentage in a season, well over 20 touchdowns? He's at 19 now or 18. Like, you don't think he's even going to get an invite if we're undefeated and he continues to play the way that he is now? I don't see how that happens. Player development and training is more important. Thank you, Antoine. I would rather pay a guy like Ben Herbert what he's worth 10 times over than to put my faith in some of these NIL collectives. Than paying recruits not to go to your rival. No investigation there. Your former AD goes on Capitol Hill and tells them that, yeah, we pay recruits not to go to our rivals. No investigation, NCAA? None.
And it's not a frustration and yearning for JJ. It's just the fact that that's what's happening now. DraftKings odds for the Heisman are the highest odds for the Heisman right now are with JJ McCarthy.
After this weekend, for sure.
Yeah, so it's not us.
Fourth highest odds already.
It's just what's happening. Vegas
had earmarked coming into this weekend at the fourth highest odds. Now you had all of these top guys that were supposed to be ahead of him. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix have awful weekends. They all had bad weekends. For some reason or another, whether it was taking a loss or performing worse. But all of that plays a role, man. You cannot play bad late in the season and win a Heisman. Tell me who's done it.
Nobody.
JJ will definitely get an invite. I'll take that for sure. Okay. Then we on the same page. As long as we're on the same page about him making it to New York, everything else we can just cordially disagree about. But if you believe he's going to New York, then we on the same page.
Yeah. It's just what's happening, Nobody has those gaudy stats. Somebody's got 40 touchdowns already. He'll probably have 60. That's not happening this year.
Yardage wise, he'll probably be inferior. He's gonna have to have some really big games here in the second half of the season.
And
touchdown wise,
he's gonna have the opportunity.
He should be fine. He should be right there with everybody else.
He blows out Penn State, has a great game against Ohio State in the game, which everybody will be watching. You can almost count it. He balls out in those two games, and then Maryland.
You also have Maryland and Purdue on the schedule, which is maybe some nice stat padding games.
Yeah, so he can really turn up. He's gonna have the opportunity to put it to maybe take it. By default, almost.
Yeah. Fact.
So. Y'all, I gotta figure out how to do this stuff on this Chromebook. It ain't like a normal computer where you just click it, copy, boom, put it in there, paste. What's going on? So next week I'll try to bring people up, and then y'all can give y'all opinion, and me and Marcus or whatever will cook. But what do you think about Sharon Moore? I think. Let me read this before you go. Appreciate the $2 super chat. Ora82, your biggest surprise player and biggest disappointment. Well, I guess we can wrap on this since he done donated.
For sure. Appreciate it. Biggest surprise, Samaj Morgan.
That's a good
I didn't
one.
think he would make this much of an impact this early. So I like Samaj as biggest surprise. Biggest disappointment, I don't want to say. I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Nah, don't keep it to yourself.
I don't want to put bad juju over him.
Don't keep it to myself.
I've had very high expectations for this player this season, and he's not going to meet them, but he can still.
Is he a starter?
He could kinda.
Might act like he's talking about his girl.
like I want him to be better. I want it to happen for him, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen this season.
Let's see.
You know, but I think we all know who we're talking about, and maybe it ends up working in our favor, and he comes back next year. This year has not been it. It just hasn't been it.
My biggest surprise, Keon Saab. That's a big surprise. I did not expect him to do that. If anybody in the secondary, I expected Zeke Berry to be doing what Keon Saab.
We have not seen Zeke Berry. I don't know where he was at, man.
He's been injured in and out. I think he played he played yesterday, but he's been injured.
That must explain why Jay McBurrows has been getting snaps at nickel.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense because Zeke Berry was playing pretty well. And then he must have got hurt. That's it.
We don't. If we played a team that's physical, I guess maybe if we get to the playoffs, maybe then. But I think if we played a team that's physical, you'd almost need to put Big Burrows in. The way he flies up on those little screens and stuff like that.
He's a hitter. He's a hitter.
He flies off the screen, and I love that. I love that
he got a pick too this weekend, man. Get your get back. Got a pick, like 5 tackles. He did his thing, man.
The defense in general is just getting a lot of turnovers. It's been a long time since we got turnovers like this, and I don't want to hear no cupcakes. This happened in Big Ten schedule. Most of these turnovers. It's been Big Ten, and we've went years and years playing these teams, and we haven't been getting all these turnovers.
I mean, we have an out of conference schedule every year. It's not like we don't have the people act like they act as though your 3 out of conference games makes up your entire schedule. And so if your out of conference schedule is weak, then your schedule is weak, and it is really not fair because then the team that has one legitimate team in their out of conference and then 2 cupcakes misses all of that. They get none of that criticism. So as long as you play at least one, you can play 2 cupcakes regardless of when the other cupcakes are playing in the season. So if you Alabama and you play Texas to open up the season, it's totally fine to play the Citadel week 12.
No,
totally fine. If you Georgia and you got a big time matchup versus Oregon in the first couple of weeks, go ahead and play UT Martin in week 8. Who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like it's silly. Because the only thing you need to do to clear that bar is to play one decent team. Well, hell, Bowling Green is a decent team. They beat the ACC team. If it's that easy.
My disappointment, if I got to pick somebody, I'm probably going to say Braden McGregor. And this isn't saying... No. I'm gonna let me give context. Context. I know people are gonna be like, "Bro, what?" The reason I say that is because he doesn't get sacks. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't
get a lot of sacks. He does, but he gets a lot of pressures though. He constantly in the backfield.
Everything well. It's just I want you to get that quarterback.
Yeah,
and we're starting to see it. Derek Moore. We're seeing it with Jalen Harrell. We're seeing it with Josiah Stewart starting to turn up. You know, but he does everything else well, honestly. Yeah. But so my disappointment would be his lack of sacks.
Is he slow, do you think? Because I feel like he'd be back there and he's long as hell.
I think he's just a little bit slow. I think that's all it is.
I can see
it. He looks like lean muscle, so I don't know how he could get any faster or what.
And it's not like he's getting stalemated at the line. He's not weak. He has good enough moves. I don't know what it is, why he just never gets home. You know, you see him in the backfield a lot. He makes a lot of plays in the backfield on the running game, and he's always a hindrance to the quarterback, you know, with getting those tips and stuff. But you're right. He just doesn't get home a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player, and I'm not knocking him. The disappointment is the lack of sacks for him.
Sure. Okay. I could take that.
He's a beast. I'm not gonna lie. He does a lot of good or great things for their defense. So Hausman, I like Hausman. I honestly, sometimes I want him out there more.
I think they would. So Hausman is a Mike, in my opinion. He's a Mike, and Mike Barrett has been playing the best linebacker ball on the team. So if that's the case, and you're left with switching out Junior, I think the calculus there is that regardless of how physical he is, Junior's probably going to be a top 40, 50 pick or so, top 2 rounds, because of how rangy he is in his measurables, and he's going to test extremely well at the combine.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
So with that being said, are you going to risk being able to tout another potential first round, second round pick and bench him and plummet his stock and lieu for Hausman, a guy that you got for 3 more years?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Colson is playing well enough to still be starting, but there is a difference between him and Hausman, and it's usually in the direction that the ball carrier is going when they make a tackle. Hausman is usually finishing guys going the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Colson is usually dragging guys down to make the tackle. And again, that's a nitpicky. It is a nitpicky type of thing.
It's not even nitpicky for
it's
a
linebacker, because he's still gonna get you 100 tackles, right? It ain't like
he had 100 tackles last year.
He's gonna make the tackle.
He's gonna make it in a sleazy way, like Pac would say.
But if you're gonna ask me who's the better player, that comes up to me. If you're gonna ask me who the better player is, Colson or Hausman, we got to take into account the fact that every time Hausman hits somebody, they're going the opposite direction.
Yeah, and I mean, we just don't play anybody that's tough enough that can expose that.
Yeah.
Do we play anybody that can expose it? Penn State, doubt it. No.
Doubt it.
Maryland, doubt it. No.
Doubt it. Yeah.
Ohio State, definitely, probably not. You know, so he can get away with it.
Yeah. Fact.
You know, but that's just the problem right there. But
appreciate the $1.99, Jay Will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying to.
Oh no, take your time, bro.
But yeah, how many? Who do you think's gonna make it undefeated through this regular season?
Michigan, Oregon.
Oregon lost already. Washington.
Oh, they lost last week. I'm tripping. You right. They lost last week. Okay. Michigan, Georgia, from what they have left on the schedule. North Carolina lost. I want to say Florida State, but the fact that they continuously like end up in dogfights with teams that they shouldn't makes me feel like they have to lose a game at some point. Because if every game is going to be close, if you play like that, eventually you lose. It's just the law of averages. You have that many close games, eventually something's not going to go your way.
And they got to play North Carolina in the championship, most likely North Carolina.
So if North Carolina is 11-1 and beats Florida State in the ACC championship game, does anybody from the ACC make it to the playoff? Does a one-loss ACC team make it to the playoff?
Not if it's North Carolina. Well, I guess no.
I don't think they do, because at that point you'll probably be looking at big one-loss teams from everywhere.
It's going to be a lot of one-loss teams.
Team is going to get in there before North Carolina is.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of one-loss teams this year.
Hell, there's going to be a few one-loss teams in the pack, it seems like. So, you know, or if not, oh, well, no. Oregon already got one. I feel like Washington's probably going to drop one.
It seems like it now.
Yeah,
what they just sold. I mean, USC done lost 2. Caleb over there looking like he about to cry and go start training for the draft. You know, Oklahoma survived against UCF. We forgot about them.
Yeah, I mean, so even the
win schedule
was on a last-second drive, and then this week didn't look great against an inferior team. So, like, if I had to bet some money on it, would I say that they end the season undefeated? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. You're dead on, S. Dot. Dead on. Accurate.
Yeah, he don't come with no pop. I've been complaining about that for about 2 years or something since he's been starting.
Man, he gonna go to the NFL and decapitate somebody.
I know it because they ain't gonna go for that stuff. They ain't finna play that soft end. They gonna make sure, boy. You been. I don't know what they was doing and why you wasn't hitting, but that ends now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you welcome to the NFL. But yeah, Michigan, Washington, Georgia. That sounds about right. It's just
I see Michigan and Georgia as the most likely. Everybody else seems kind of shaky, man. Georgia doesn't play anybody that could challenge them, I don't think, unless they get Can they get Bama in the title game? How many losses does Bama have?
Bama's just got one loss. So you know who's getting in with the first one loss team. You know who's taking that spot. Yeah. You better not lose.
For sure.
You lose, Bama gonna be in your spot. But okay, what if Georgia? Do you think Georgia? Let's say Bama beats Georgia in the championship. Do you think Georgia and Bama both get in? Probably.
I would hate that. I would hate it. I really would, because by my estimation, and maybe I'm selling Missouri a little bit short right after they handled South Carolina this weekend. Maybe I'm selling them a little bit short, but from my estimation, I don't think if they lose to Alabama in the championship game, that will be the first time that they played a team that has equal talent to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would feel more of an exposing of Georgia than it would be they just had their first loss. They can come back and beat Alabama. Like, if they beat them based off of everything that I've seen from Georgia, and they beat them, let's say they beat them by 10 points. I'm going to feel like that's kind of what was waiting for them all season, and they just had to get to the championship to get it, as opposed to saying, okay, that was an epic matchup. Let's run it back in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to see that again. This is not 2021. I don't think this is Bama and Georgia from 2021. This is a little bit different. Like, Georgia seems slightly vulnerable to me. Alabama is still Alabama in the trenches, but there's always the question about Jalen Milroe and the passing offense. So I don't think it's necessarily the same setup that we had in 2021 when they both made it.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, this season is winding down. We almost out of here already.
Oh my God, man! This went so fast. It went so. This season is going so fast.
What do you think about Sharon Moore's play calling? Because to me, he's getting pretty good to me.
It's picking up week over week, and we're starting to see new wrinkles. I love the swing pass to Donovan is basically just a screen with the two wideouts down the field blocking. That he got his longest pass play on yesterday. Actually picked up a 3rd and long for them on that.
Mm-hmm. I like the way he ran on that too for once.
Yes. I love that play because it's the equivalent of a bubble screen. You can throw that on a regular basis, and then the counter off of that is going to be disgusting. Yeah. When they fake it out to the flat to Donovan and one of those blockers releases up the seam. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. So I want them to run that more. Run that more to get people keying on it so that they'll start triggering on Donovan the minute they see him shoot out to the flat. Boom, right up the seam. Touchdown. Mm-hmm. Touchdown. That's what I'm waiting on. Other than that, man, I like Sharon Moore calling plays. He doesn't call it necessarily like Harbaugh, but he's a smart enough play caller to know when he needs to run the ball. You don't know how many times I'm just sitting over here watching football on Saturdays, and I see guys going 5 wide on 3rd and 1. I see guys going 5 wide on 3rd and 2. And it's just like, man, this football is a physical game. If you can't line up and push a man 2 yards to gain a 1st down, hang it up. Hang it up. That's inferior football. That is playing football from an inferior place.
That's what Penn State was doing in the beginning of that game. Like, bro, run and get this yard. Like, what are you doing? You want to be baby Michigan, now you scared. One of my boys, Monk, was saying, like, they want to be baby Michigan, now they don't want to show it. Like, bro, run and get the yard.
That's
what are you
James
doing?
Franklin. That's James Franklin, man. How do you let your young QB in his first start versus a reputable team, right? West Virginia probably would have been the closest thing to what he just got prior to this, and that's not really a comparison. So, first start versus a team like this on the road, and he's already struggling, and your answer is to throw it more when you got Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton in the backfield.
Just abandoned it fast.
Completely abandoned the run.
He abandoned it
43 times. He only had 60-something plays.
He abandoned that run so fast, boy. He could wait. He pulled a Ryan Day.
Yeah. They had 4 possessions in the first quarter and scored 3 points.
That's crazy.
What are you supposed to do with that?
Let's see. Will Jaden Davis start next year, or will it be a transfer? I think if JJ leaves, I think he starts.
Jaden Denegal.
You like Denegal, or you think Harbaugh likes him?
I think Harbaugh likes him. I like his size. I don't think we know what we truly got into him until he can play a whole game. I'm over the Jack Tuttle experiment. I'm really.
You don't like Tuttle?
I do not. I didn't like him when he was at Indiana. So like I didn't think he was going to be able to do anything with us. And plus, I'm just not a fan of bringing in the stopgap quarterback to be your backup, right? Because now look at the question that we asking for next season. We have 2 underclassmen quarterbacks on our roster currently right now, and we talking about whether or not the true freshman is going to start or we going to get a transfer portal quarterback. Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
so what does that say about your development in house when you're gonna have 2 juniors and you're expecting the true freshman to start?
I think yeah, you're right, but I'm saying it's because you have championship expectations. You know, sure. Harbaugh takes a while to trust his quarterbacks. It's just how he rocks. Mm-hmm. So you got the trusty veteran. I could throw him in there. He's seen it all. You know. Mm-hmm. So,
but that's why
you're missing development from the younger guys, though. You're right.
I think that gives Denegal and Orji the edge because Harbaugh is like that, and he likes established guys and guys that know the system, right? Over a guy that's just starting in the system in Jaden Davis, or even a transfer portal guy who has to learn the offense. I think that's where they'll have the edge, but they're not getting the opportunity this year to show that they're worth. All right, don't go get such and such quarterback from wherever to try and offer him a starting job because I'm your starter. I think at very least they're going to bring guys in to compete, and that go ahead. Oh, and then that might actually end up hurting them. You know what I mean? So from my perspective, I think the best case scenario for Michigan is either Davis Warren, Jaden Denegal, Alex Orji. One of those guys takes a big enough step in the offseason, in the spring, to make a difference, right? And actually make you think about it like, okay, this guy can be a starter for us because number one, that keeps continuity. Nobody's transferring more than likely. And then number two, you're not leveraging so much into a guy who wasn't involved in your program last year to lead you this year, right? And it speaks to your quarterback development, right? Like if Jaden Denegal ends up starting for a year and going to the league a year after JJ has the type of year he's having this year, what does that say about your development? Oh, by the way, you're still recruiting 5-star QBs. You got Jaden Davis in. We're still recruiting Bryce Underwood, and all the while he's seeing the finished products of Jim Harbaugh's quarterback program and JJ and Jaden Denegal. So for me, I'd say Denegal over. Oh, hell no. Get your ass on my phone. There's some dogs fighting outside my house, y'all. That's crazy. Between Jaden Denegal and Alex Orji are the better options for me than throwing Jaden Davis into the fire week 1 of his freshman season and telling him to go win us a game. Let me get on YouTube here so I can see some more of these comments.
Whoo, I'm back, y'all. Yeah, my bad.
I was just getting ready to get on YouTube, see if I can see what they was talking about.
Oh, my bad. I forgot you can't see the chat.
Right.
But yeah, the season is going how we want it. We kicking everybody, just kicking their head in. They can complain all they want. For some reason, a lot of Ohio State fans think we're supposed to be scared now that they had a struggle
after
with
that game. No, they don't think that. They don't legitimately think that.
Are you on Facebook?
Not a lot,
bro. See, I'm on Facebook. That's where I put most of my videos when I first started. So I'm in like 50 college football Michigan groups. So I see Big Ten, all of it, and some of them, a lot of them think that we're supposed to be scared of them now just because they got a defense. Like we don't play defense, Good job, you got a defense. We got a defense, Oh, you only did this like that last year because our defense was trash. You scored 3 points in the second half. It wasn't just your defense. I'm so tired of telling them that.
Passing option. One, Marvin Harrison Jr. The last time y'all came to Ann Arbor, you had three guys that y'all were expecting to all get 1,000 yards in that season. How'd that go for you? And you had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback too.
Yeah, and that's what I say also. You had a top 3 pick in the draft. You think McCord scares us?
That's my point. It's like
you're watching your games.
If the defense was better, okay. If the defense was better, we probably wouldn't have given up 42 points. Granted, was it going to help you score more than 20, 21 or whatever y'all scored last year? Was it going to help you score more than 21?
It's like they think we don't watch their games. I
know what you got over there, man. It ain't all that. It ain't that bad.
Yeah, so we just rocking and rolling. This cheating, whatever.
Man, I ain't paying.
Sweeping that right under the rug, and I think this team is going. I think they're gonna roll both of them, but you never know, especially in the game. I think Penn State's gonna get rolled for real. I think they're gonna get rolled. It's either gonna be a controlled ass whooping or they're just gonna get rolled. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, if they can't throw the ball, they're dead in the water.
Exactly. We'll see if he's getting rattled like that, where he looks like he shouldn't even be playing college football. I mean, what are we? So
yeah. I mean, if they don't put anything together in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be scary hours for them when we come to town.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm about to jump off here and make this call.
For sure.
I appreciate all the super chats, everybody joining, liking and sharing and subscribing. Follow Marcus on Back of the Bus, or not Back of the Bus, A House Divided.
Yep.
Trying to turn that page up, so help him out. He giving y'all content. He on here with me, but he's spitting. Am I spitting or am I spitting? You feel?
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate the audience every week, man. Y'all coming in here, great crowd, a lot of great questions, insightful. Even the people from rival fan bases, man. I appreciate the community around it. This is what football brings you, when you do it right. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So I'm about to jump off of here. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.
Go blue.